What's up, guys? Your driver Mike here, back with another video. Today we're going virtual, guys. We are looking at the MacBook here. We're going to talk about what you need to do to prepare for tax season. Now, keep in mind, Uber has not withheld taxes, so we're going to go over what you need to do to get your tax forms in, how much you should expect to be withheld from your earnings, expenses, filing, as much as we can, guys. Little disclosure, this is not to be taken as tax or financial or legal advice. Just a heads up, guys, I am not a CPA. Make sure you do have a personal CPA, or you take advantage of some of Uber's benefits here, like the TurboTax Self-Employed or the H&R Block Tax Professionals. All right, so first, we're going to go to our partners page here. You can see right here on the partners.uber.com. When you arrive to the Uber Partners page, you want to click right here on tax information, okay? Make sure you have that. Everyone should have this tab here, payment statements, instant pay, tax information, and banking. Leave a comment below if you want me to highlight any of these other columns. We can go over anything you'd like, how instant pay works, how your statements are broken down. But this is our first video here on the MacBook on the website. So let's take a look. So under the tax information screen here, let's just look here at the little bit of intro. Let's not jump right into the forms just yet. Let's break down what we're looking at on the page, okay? So this is going to provide some information as far as what forms you're going to get, resources for filing those forms, and a little bit about what to expect for taxes. So you can see here, they're just telling us the page has everything that we need as an independent contractor. Okay, that's a key word because as independent contractors, we don't have tax withheld. Now, if we were an employee, they would withhold taxes. If you have work outside of Uber, outside of rideshare, your employer is going to withhold federal, state, local taxes, and that'll be in your pay statement. Uber does not do that because we are independent contractors. All right, so if we scroll down a little bit here, let's look right here at tax documents. So you can see I initially started Drive in October of 2015. So I have a 2015 1099K, which is the form which we're going to go over. So let's focus right here on 2016, both the monthly and yearly summary. Now this is going to give us an example. Right here you see it says show example. So we'll jump into that, but first let's talk about what the 1099 is and what to expect. So if we scroll down a little further, there's some FAQs here that can help us out. Let's just take a look at this. What is a 1099K and what's a 1099 Misc? So you can pause this if you'd like to read it in full, but basically the 1099K is what everyone's going to get, okay? If you've made income from Uber, if you've had pay statements from Uber, you're going to get this. It's going to show all payments, some mileage, some expenses, fees, etc. Okay, it's going to be a breakdown that you can forward to your CPA, that you can print out, bring to H&R Block, whatever. So that's the main form, 1099K. The 1099 Misc, short for miscellaneous, is going to show any kind of incentives, referrals, greater than $600. Okay. Now, what do you do if it's less than $600? Again, you're going to need to ask the CPA on that one. If it's income, you should be filing though. Okay. So if it's under $600, check with the CPA, just make sure, but you will get the 1099 Misc if you make over $600 in incentives, referrals. Okay. So you can see here, they have, it includes referrals, incentive payments, prizes, and awards, and other miscellaneous payments. Not all partners qualify to receive a 1099 Misc, and you won't. I mean, if you didn't make 600 or more, if you're not making any referrals, or if your market doesn't have any prizes, contests, if you don't net more than 600, don't worry about it. If you don't see a 1099 Misc, nothing to worry about there. So let's just give an example here. All right. Now, referrals, like I mentioned in my sign-up video, there are referral links to sign up drivers typically between a $100 to $500 sign-on bonus. So if anyone hasn't driven yet and you're thinking about signing up to drive, check out the link below, and also check out that sign-up video that we posted a little bit ago. That'll help you out if you're signing up and looking to just get started. There's a good accessories video on the channel as well, just to set up your car. Good resources. So if you did use a referral link, if you're signing up other drivers, and you get income from that, that's what is going to go on the 1099 Misc. Let's look at the incentive payments. Sometimes Uber does have certain incentives, earnings boosts, awards. All right, let's look right here at prizes and awards. Some markets may have contests. Here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we may have something like, if you drive late night hours, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., every ride you complete starting from a certain area, you'll be entered to win a cash prize of, I don't know, $100 maybe, something like that. So if your market has any contests, any drawings like that, if you pick up from a certain time or location, you may be entered to win some cash raffles. That's what that would include. That's what would be on the 1099 Misc. A little more disclosure here at the bottom. They're just telling you, hey, we're not providing tax advice, much like I did at the beginning of the video. They're not tax professionals. They're not providing tax guidance, just a little legal disclosure. So remember that there are some good FAQs here, but to seek a CPA or a financial firm like H&R Block or Intuit. And we'll go over some of these FAQs a little bit later, just to kind of clarify some of the points that you're going to be needing to pay attention to. But let's go up here and look at the yearly summary, okay? You'll see here they do have some resources for filing. Before we even get into filing, let's take a look at this yearly summary, though, just to see what our 1099 is going to actually look like. So, again, 2016, this was for all of our driving last year, and let's take a look at this example. All right, so now we are driver John Smith. John was driving for the period of 2016. Not an official invoice or tax document, okay? This is what's on their records, but if you have your own records, it's always good to double check. And you'll see here, many of the items listed below may be tax deductible. For more information, we recommend that you seek advice from a qualified tax site or service, aka again CPA. All right, first section here, the 1099K breakdown. So we're just going to go through each one of these, kind of explain what they're talking about. Gross fares, Uber fee included. Okay, so obviously we know what this is, gross fares, and again, this is gross fares. This is before Uber's commission of 28%, whatever it is. This is the entire fare amount, guys. And again, includes Uber's fee. Tolls, if you are going through toll roads, and a quick insight for anyone that may not know, you are expected or required rather to pay tolls on your rides. And that's completely okay, guys, and here's why. You're going to pay tolls, if you have an Easy Pass or some kind of device that lets you auto pay from your own account. If you have cash, either way, but the passenger does not pay tolls. You do. Okay. And the reason is that Uber uses their GPS to track the ride, and they're going to see that you went through a toll road, and then they're going to pay you the toll back in your pay statement. Okay. It'll say, just toll payment reimbursement right on your pay statement. So yeah, just a heads up, if you're going through toll roads, if you're a new driver, just pay the toll as normal. If the passenger asks, you pay the toll. Passenger does not pay the toll, you can tell them you get reimbursed from Uber. Next one, split fares. So let's say, Dan and Joe are taking a ride. They're like, hey, you want to split the fare? There's a fee for them to do that. And it's very inexpensive. It's 50 cents a person, I think, to split it. So if you have one split, it's 50 cents or 25 cents. So another thing you can tell your passengers, they say like, if a ride's really expensive, you can say, well, hey, just split it. And they say, well, how do I do that? They can do it. Now, it has to be during the ride, okay? But they can do it right within the app. It'll say split fare. And you can provide a phone number, and it'll send a text to that phone number that says, Joe wants to split this fare. Do you accept? So they're including that as well. That is strictly what a passenger pays. You don't touch that, and that's included here. Like a lot of things, they seem like expenses, but Uber does actually include this as income. Next is safe ride fees. Every single market is going to have a safe ride fee. I think here in Pittsburgh, it's maybe $1.65, something like that. I'd probably have to check. But that is going into a pool of funds that Uber uses for background checks, for just operations, logistics, their expense column. So that's what the safe rides fee is for. And there's actually a little bit more of a description here. Background checks, incident responses, development of safety features in the app, and other operating costs. So that's a pool of funds, and each ride is going to be charged a safe ride fee, of course. All right, next is miscellaneous fare. You can see here John Smith did not incur any miscellaneous expenses. Those are cleaning fees. Okay, it's a miscellaneous. Actually, it's going to come up, I believe, as miscellaneous or miscellaneous cleaning fee if a passenger gets sick in your car. So if John here had any cleaning fees, we'd see the amount here in miscellaneous. So if your market allows for pickups, I don't think a lot of markets do, but if the city has approved it, they'll work with Uber to approve pickups for drivers. Now, typically that involves a fee from the city. So here in Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh charges, or Pittsburgh International charges Uber kind of like a contract fee to do pickups, to be allowed to do pickups. I think it's maybe $2.50, something like that, a ride. If John did airport runs here and he did pickups, you would see the fees there multiplied by how many rides he took. And here's just some more information on it. All right, the next one is city fee. Now, we look at the description here. Charges that are specific to the city you're in. Now, I have not seen this in Pittsburgh, so I'm not too familiar with it. It says includes toll, surcharges, and support fees. I would imagine if the city has any other kind of fees that it has worked out with Uber, that you'll see them here. Similar to the Black Car Fund. Let's take a look here. Well, there we go. We can see for New York City only. Black Car Fund is a workers' compensation fund that the TLC Taxi Limousine Commission requires drivers on NYC black car bases to pay into. So don't worry about that unless you're in the New York City market. Sales tax here, we can see varies by city. This amount may be retained by you, paid by you, or passed to other parties. If it's paid to you, it will reflect in your pay statement. Another market-specific thing, guys, we don't have that here in Pittsburgh. Not that I'm aware of, nothing that I've seen on my pay statements. I can run back again and look for you guys. But if your market has sales tax within the fare like this, you'll see it listed here. All right, next column is a booking fee. Most markets are going to have an initial booking fee. Okay, just to get into the car, it's going to charge X amount of dollars. I can't remember off the top of my head here what it's at in Pittsburgh, but you're going to have your booking fee, your safe ride fee, and then the rest of the fare based on mileage and time. So booking fees will go here. Last column is other taxes. Really doesn't tell us much here. You can see it just says other taxes, but maybe a question for your tax professional. All right, so let's look at the 1099 Misc. Okay, and remember that's if you are making over $600 in referrals or rewards. So nothing here in John's miscellaneous columns. It says additional payments received not related to a specific trip. For example, a device subscription fee reimbursement. Kind of a grandfathered in feature where when Uber first launched in markets, they provided drivers with an iPhone that you could basically rent and pay on to have that phone. So that's what that device subscription fee meant. All right, the main portion of a 1099 Misc is going to be the referral and incentive column right here. Like we mentioned, related to trip guarantees or for referring family and friends to drive on the Uber platform. So if John got some incentives here for driving, think of boost zones in different markets, or if he did driver referrals, that's what this amount is referring to. All right, let's look at other potential deductions. And the reason these are deductions are these are expenses that you have paid to Uber or have incurred while driving. And we'll talk some more about other deductions, but right here, the Uber service fee, that's going to be your commission amount. So if you are on a 20%, 25%, 28% commission, those expenses are going to go in this column. And the next column, the devices subscription, what we talked about earlier. You can see here if you are paying against a rental mobile device, a weekly fee, those payments will show here. Next column is the fuel card deduction. Now, this is a card provided to drivers where you can basically credit out gas expenses against your pay statement. So using the fuel card, if I'm going to fill up, I'll swipe that Uber partner card first. I'll enter my odometer reading. I'll enter my driver number that Uber gives me. Then I'll continue filling up as normal. And then when my statement comes through, my pay statement, you'll see minus $30 fuel card deduction or fuel card expense. So if you do this multiple times, just keep in mind that that expense is going to come out of your pay. Now it's nice because it will withhold the payment from your card, so you don't have to take it out of your debit card per se. You can just basically leave it in a floating credit where it won't hit any of your accounts, but it's going to be deducted during the pay statement. Okay, again, it's not going to hit your bank account. It's not going to hit your actual personal card, your debit card, let's say, but it will be deducted from your pay statement with Uber. Now, just a quick heads up, if you are in the negative, you'll be expected to pay that the following week. Now, if you keep a negative balance and let's say you just stop driving, okay, your account's still going to hold that negative balance. Now, if you never drive again, most likely Uber can eat the cost. They're not going to come after you for like $30, but if it's abused, of course, Uber is going to contact you and probably deactivate the card. Just a heads up. But as a business resource, it can be useful, showing you actual net profits after an expenditure like gas. All right, next column is on trip mileage. So first column, that is not an actual dollar amount. All right, and this is listed again under other potential deductions because this is something that is important to show to your CPA or tax professional. Now, let's look below here. Items in bold may be deductible. Check with a tax professional to learn more. But what they don't mention is that even more mileage is deductible. Okay, so this is on trip mileage. That's when you have a passenger. But let's keep in mind that the miles to a passenger are an expense to you. Those are deductible. Okay. Now, if you are just driving around, getting groceries, if you don't have the app on, it's not an expense. Okay. It's not a business trip. Okay. Now, if you are getting groceries and your app is on and you are online, it is deductible. Okay. If you are, traveling wherever, but if you have the app on, if it's online, then you can use that mileage as an expense. Okay. Now, how much do you get back, right? So if you drive 10 miles, on a short trip that you're going wherever, okay? Let's jump over here to the IRS government page for standard mileage deduction. And again, we're looking at John Smith's statement for 2016. So let's highlight 2016 here. We're looking under business, okay, because this is a business expense. These are business miles. So again, 2016, business expense. John can write off 54 cents, because again, up here, the rates are in cents per mile. So 2016, 54 cents per mile. Now, what does that cover? That covers, let's look up top here, the deductible costs of operating an automotive for business, charitable, medical, or moving expense purposes. That is covering all expenses to operate the vehicle. Okay, gas, wear and tear, maintenance, insurance, registration, inspection, everything. So the IRS says, okay, well, we'll do the math for you. Generally, for a car, it's going to cost the car 54 cents a mile to operate, all things considered. Okay, so you can do a standard mileage deduction. You can tell the IRS, you can tell your CPA, well, I'm going to take the standard mileage deduction. So they say, okay, well, how many miles are you submitting for expenses? I don't know, 10,000 miles. All right. So 10,000 times 54 cents, that's what you can write off as an expense. All right. So there is another method, which is called itemized, which you actually record each expense you have related to your car. So you record your insurance, the registration, every single time you fill up for a business purpose. You fill up the tank for business purpose. You keep every single one of those gas receipts. All right. You keep your receipts from your wear and tear. You keep receipts for any parts that you buy, headlights, brake pads, anything, any repairs that are done to the vehicle, because this is you're using your vehicle in part for business. Okay. I'm not sure what else I'm missing, but you get the idea. Any expense that is on the car or related to the car, that is related to the business, it has to be related to the business. You can't say, oh, it's tough to give you an example, but if you buy something for the car that is completely void of any relation to business, that does not count. Okay. Now, again, we're kind of getting in the gray area here. I don't want to go too deep into that, but talk to the CPA, talk to your tax professional about what is deductible, because expenses, maintenance, etc., are deductible. So if you keep all those receipts, you can give all those receipts to your CPA and say, okay, I drove 10,000 miles. I spent X amount of dollars in expenses. How much did it cost me per mile to operate the car? So you may see that it is more than 54 cents a mile. Okay. Now you may see it is less than 54 cents a mile, which means you are actually deducting less, which means you're going to show less expenses, which is not the smartest business move. Okay. And again, I'm going to disclose this is not legal or tax advice, but I'm going to show you that, you may want to use a standard mileage deduction because it's easier. You need to keep every single receipt for your expenses. And should you be audited, you need to present every single receipt if you go with the itemized deductions. The tax auditor will say, all right, well, you said you spent X amount on expenses, on gas. Show me all your gas receipts. Show me all your maintenance receipts. Show me all your inspection, etc. Okay, and if you have that, that's fine. If it's filed away, that's fine. But it may be a lot easier than keeping all of those receipts to just record your miles. And that's a big thing that we need to do is keep a mileage log. Okay, starting mileage for the day, ending mileage for the day. Write it down. Write the odometer start and end count. Okay, so it may be a lot easier to say, hey, I drove 10,000 miles, 54 cents a mile. There you go. Those are my expenses. Okay, we won't go too much more into that, but that's what's deductible for miles. Okay, 54 cents. And real quick, you'll see here for this coming year, we actually get to deduct a little bit less, 53.5 cents a mile for 2017. But for John Smith, for what we're looking at, 54 cents a mile. Let's jump back here to his statement. Okay, again, period 2016, so he can deduct 54 cents a mile. So he can deduct these 4,379.8 miles, but he can deduct more than that if he was keeping a mileage log, because those miles to the passenger, those are deductible. So you could probably at least double that. He's probably actually driving 9,000 miles a year, or 10,000, we don't know. We don't know. Okay, but those are all deductible. So if you're not keeping a mileage log, you're really leaving money on the table and are going to pay more in taxes because you're going to be showing more of a profit, less in expenses, versus showing higher expenses, actual expenses. Remember, these have to be real numbers, actual expenses, and paying less in taxes. All right, guys, so that's a quick review of the tax summary for John Smith here for our Uber partner driver example in period of 2016. Okay, so let's go back to the tax summary page and briefly just talk about some of the help that Uber provides. Uber has $20 off Intuit TurboTax Self-Employed. That's if you're going to self-file. Okay, if you're going to do the 1099 yourself, you're going to enter in expenses, miles, everything on your own. Okay, I cannot speak to that. I use a personal CPA. But some have said that the TurboTax is very easy to use, very fast, very easy, cheaper. I'm not sure. I'm just speaking to what I use and what Uber offers. So $20 off if you want to use the TurboTax Self-Employed. Speaking with a tax professional, you can go to H&R Block. Similar offer there. $20 off tax service. It says bring your tax documents and have a professional prepare your return for you. So, if you have questions, if you prefer to do things face-to-face, if you prefer to make sure you're not missing expenses, okay, or not over-calculating expenses, if you're unsure how to do it yourself, there you go. H&R Block, that's a good option. If you don't want to use a personal CPA, you can go to H&R Block, save $20. So you can click on let's click on that and see what that does. Brings us to the H&R page. And just some more information. You guys can check that out if you'd like. So let's just jump back to our summary page here. So $20 off. All right, guys. Finally here, let's just go over some of these FAQs. We're not going to go over them all, but let's just go over some of the biggest questions, and I will contribute as much as I can here. Just some of the biggest ones that people may be wondering about the taxes. One interesting question here is if you owe quarterly taxes. So let's look at this. As an independent contractor, you may owe quarterly taxes, and here are the estimated quarterly deadlines. Okay. And it just says to speak with a qualified tax professional or service. Now, my CPA has told me that you can pay and should pay quarterly taxes. And the reason being is you're going to pay usually less because you won't be charged a fee for waiting. So what that means is you're not going to have a larger expenditure come tax time and having to pay all the taxes at once. All right, and pretty smart to do. I definitely advise it. Speak to a CPA, find a CPA in your area, and let them know, your earnings and what to expect, because paying quarterly, you will get those expenses taken care of, so you won't have to pay it all at once. All right, in the basics on what tax documents will I receive, again, you'll receive a 1099-K or a 1099 Misc if you hit 600 more in those referrals or incentives. Now, right here, you can do consent to get e-delivery of these 1099 forms. If we click on this, it says you have agreed to receive your 1099 forms electronically. Just up to you. If you don't, Uber will mail you a hard copy to your address on your partner account. All right, guys, that is it. Thanks for watching. Your driver Mike here, going over some of the taxes for Uber. Lots more to talk about. We got tons more on the partner site. We can do a bunch more walkthroughs, tutorials, FAQs, anything like that. So leave a comment below. Let me know if you like some walkthroughs like this or want to see some more info on the partner site, and we can definitely do that. Look forward to seeing the next one, guys. Thanks again. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.